before the show, he dropped the bomb, and I was like, oh my God, sir is pissed at me. He said, don't look at me like that. And I was choked at that point. I was like, I've offended him. Rahman sir came, he's like, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. Say it again. And he made me sing it a different way.
Tracking milestones of an incredible journey spanning 30 years. Rahman Music Sheets. Hi friends, how about finding a top take? A wow factor in this episode. Do watch it till the end to grab this harmonic moment of the day. Now, O2 India presents Talkies Ankahi with unique Indians.
Milkha Singh of the services wins, timing 47.4 seconds.
कि बेटा मेरे दिल में जो थोड़ी सी भी नफरत बची थी ना पाकिस्तान के लिए वो आज खत्म हो गई.
The men's 400 meters race proves to be the most dramatic event. Milkha Singh of India, in spite of his best timing so far, is beaten to 4th place.
No degrees, no jobs, no social security, nothing mattered. I think he didn't play the role, he became the role. I barely had 11 rupees in my pocket. And she knew it. No, she was not going to charge me.
Seventh Son. AR Rahman was to compose music for this Hollywood fantasy film. But he opted out of the film because he wanted to compose for Kaaviya Thalaivan. The 2014 film pivots around the rivalry of two theatre artists in the early 20th century. This plot challenged Rahman to bring alive a bygone era through its folk musical traditions. He researched for 6 months to capture the sound and feel of that pre-independence Indian era. Kaaviya Thalaivan won Rahman Tamil Nadu State Film Award as Best Music Director. It was for this film that Shashaa Tirupati sang her first song in Tamil for AR Rahman.
Hey, Mr. Minor, enna paakure. Oh my gosh, that song is me. It's like if you were to a musical representation to me, I think A Mr. Minor would be the perfect representation of the mood and the chirpiness of who I am as a person. So we were in a gig. Hey, Mr. Minor, just before the show was about to begin, Sami sir had actually come up to me and he said, ki, sir wants to see you after the show. And again, me, overthinker, like I said, I am panicking at this point. Before the show, he dropped the bomb and I was like, oh my God, sir is pissed at me. I wonder what he wants to see me for. Is he gonna like blast me for something? I was just, yeah, I was a wreck. And then after the gig, met sir and the entire team was there setting up a microphone. Somebody's sitting on lyrics. Somebody's, I don't know, sitting on the computer, setting that up. And sir just tells Srinidhi to give me the lyrics of a song. So I'm given a piece of paper with Tamil lyrics written in English. So I was like, oh, that's what you needed to see me for. So anyways, I started reading and it's foreign to me. I think 20 minutes of that and then sir's like, okay, go stand behind the microphone. So I stood. I remember, I will not forget the green AKG, I think, headphones, massive. And yeah, I think I want to steal those one day from him. That's what I had, and then they had the little the reflector and all of that. So I actually recorded the mukra of the song, and sir is telling me exactly what he wants. I could see sir's reflection in a mirror. He wasn't facing me, but every time I'd sing something, I'd slightly lean over and see sir's expression just to see if he was okay with my rendition. So So he told me to sing this part, and that was so funny. He told me to sing, oh, there's this part in the song, oh, hey, Mr. Minor and the pocket. So before that, there's like that little run. I could not sing it, still can't. And it's so fast. So he made me sing it 25 times back to back. Oh, oh. He made me sing it like a record. I sang it, and then finally, I think 24th time he got it, and he's like, okay, got it. That was it. That was such a fun session. We just recorded the Mukhra, and then we never did the Antara. And I think, again, a couple of weeks later, I got called from Srinidhi, and she's like, we need to record the Antara of that song you recorded in wherever we were. So I was like, yes! He liked it. And that song, I think it's what I hate hearing my voice. I do not like to go and listen to any song that releases in my voice. Never listen until somebody's like, you know, listening to it and I don't have an option. But that is one song that I actually don't mind hearing my voice on. Yeah, I have very fond memories with that song.
Sasha, this song actually reminds you of old classics, perhaps sung by Asha Bhosle ji and picturized on Madhubala.
Oh, totally, totally. And I think that's why I really resonate with the song, because I do feel I'm an old soul. I feel like I started off telling you that I feel like a misfit. I also feel like a misfit in the times we're living in. I feel I belong to like the 1920s, maybe the 1850s, maybe, I don't know. 1920s would be too close to the Depression, so I don't think I'd want to be around at that time, but maybe a little before that. But yeah, I do feel like I belong to another time, and this song made me feel so at home.
Singing songs from another era has been Sasha's forte, and there is a reason behind it. Born in Kashmir, brought up in Canada, she grew up in a house that always resonated with Indian film music. For this professional swimmer and MBA in marketing management, everything changed when her parents heard her humming a very complex Hindi film song.
Yes, that song was called Jao Re Jogi Tum Jao Re. That was a song. Ye hai premiyon ki nagari. Jao re jogi tum jao re. I was actually playing cars with my brothers. I have two younger brothers, and we were just sitting on the floor, and we were playing cars, and I was randomly just like da da na 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 na. I just sang that, and I was probably 6 at the time. And my mother was just like, she was doing something. She was sitting there watching us play. I don't know, reading a newspaper. I don't know what she was doing. But she froze, and she's like, Mera ghar ka naam is Richa. Like at home, I'm known as Richa. So my mom's like, Richa beta wo wapas se gana jo bhi gaya. Maine kaha, kya gaya? And I had no idea what I was saying. I was just doing my thing, right? A 6-year-old. So then I just sang whatever I was singing. I sang it again. And then my mom ran inside. She's like, Suniye, idhar aiye. So then my dad came, and mummy's like, beta wapas se wo ga ke suna. And you know how Indian parents are, right? So I just sang it again. And I think that at that point, my parents are like, isko music ki taaleem dilani chahiye. And I think that is where the whole thing started. I was introduced to Pandit Jasraj ji in Vancouver. They had an institute there, the Pandit Jasraj School of Music, where my parents took me, and Jasraj ji put his hand on my head. He heard me sing Madhuban Mein Radhika Naache Re, which was a Rafi Saab song.
मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे गिरधर की मुरलिया बाजे रे.
So he heard me sing that, and then he took my hands and he kissed my hands, and he's like, you have to take your daughter to, I actually remember that, you have to take your daughter to India. And then he referred my parents to Allahabad, and thereafter we branched out to Banaras as well because it was close by, and then I trained under Girija Devi ji, Appa ji.
Learning under Girija Devi ji, how did it change you and your perception of music?
I lived in her house with her and her other students, my Guru Bhai and Guru Behens and all of that. And I remember there was no electricity. Like, they had electricity in the house, but when we would learn and when we would sit there, we would literally just sit and listen. And I remember they would switch all the lights off. There'd be a candle, and Appaji would sing like a tumri or a cheti or a kajri, and most of it was actually just us sitting and listening. One day, randomly of the 5 days, she would ask me ki, "Acha, abhi ye gao," and she would sing something, and she would tell me to repeat after her. For example, if there's something like a "Ave mi ave jane wale tenu," so she'll sing that, and then she'll ask me to replicate, and then she would correct me. So that was pretty much how the learning process under Appaji was. There was very little singing from my end, but there was so much listening, and there was a constant immersion in that environment where her shishyas would sing, and each one of them, it felt like they were all an institution in themselves. They were trained that way. It was like a guru shishya parampara ka entire gurukul kind of a scenario.
OK Kanmani. This Mani Ratnam's second highest grossing Tamil film in 2015 had 3 songs by Sasha. Finally, this Rahman discovery found fame and instant stardom.
Yeah, Parand Sellava was, oh my gosh, these are like some of my favorite moments in the studio with Rahman sir. Usually, all the singers record separately, right? Like the solo singers or the lead singers. So the male will record his vocals, then the female vocalist is called in to record, or vice versa. So both of us actually recorded at the same time. I had not done that in the songs that I'd recorded prior to, be it in Bombay or there. So I was standing in this booth, Karthik was standing in the other booth, and Rahman sir was sitting, and I couldn't see sir because he was sitting in like the dark control room, and there was no lights on. So I remember I would struggle to see him just to see if he was talking to me or if he was talking to Karthik. So Karthik was recording, I was recording, and there's this one point where sir was, I think he was trying to communicate something to me in terms of the meaning of the song, and that's why he wanted a specific emotion there. And so I was squinting, and I was just, I was trying to see if he was talking to me or if he was talking to Karthik. And then he said, "Don't look at me like that." And I was choked at that point. I was like, I've offended him. I was like, but I'm not, I can't see him. So I was like, "I'm so sorry, sir." I said, I can't see you. I'm trying to see if you're talking to me so I can do what you're asking me to do. He's like, no, that's what the line means. I laughed so hard. I was like, oh, okay. So then he's like, "That's the emotion you need to put in, that, don't look at me like that. So bring that emotion into this little." So I think that was that entire chunk where Karthik and I were doing those little scats, ha, 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 that entire chunk. So there was so much playfulness in that. That was one highlight of the recording, but the funnier highlight was I was recording and I thought it was just the 3 of us. So myself, sir, and Karthik. I finished and sir gave like a double thumbs up and he's like, "Come out." So I come out, I open the door for the control room, and I enter, and suddenly I notice in the dark there was like this little shadow on a sofa. and I squint again because my eyes are still adjusting, and it's none other than Mani Ratnam sir. And I was like, I wonder when he came in here and how long he's been dealing with my nonsense. So, yeah, because I was just like yapping away behind the microphone. And I come inside, I was like, oh my God, as if Rahman sir wasn't enough, there's him as well. So that was such a cool moment to actually see the people we grew up spending endless nights listening to, particularly being in Canada. For me, it was all the more because I was like so far away from where they lived, and to be in that studio where I could actually meet both of them and sing on a film for them. Yeah. Naane Vargireen. For starters, that song was really high for me. I have a pretty low, mid-low range. So I do end up losing my voice after I record songs in that range for like another a week and a half. I can't sing. So Naane did that. But that was such a difficult song to record because I did the whole thing. First, I recorded that song with Srini sir, and he made me record it a certain way. Rahman sir came, he's like, no, I don't want this. Say it again. And he made me sing it a different way. And I actually could not understand the downbeat because it was all on a bass and a click. And I was not being able to make... What we listen to right now as the final record version is night and day from what we actually recorded. And I was simply not able to pick up the downbeat of Naane Vargireen. Right now it's on the ne. But at that time, I think it was on the na. So it was a very, very difficult session, especially with no music behind it. I didn't have a track to record to, but that was such an insane process. I had never recorded like that. And for me, what it did was that it taught me that you can actually record a song like this as well. And the entire production that Sir did was actually around the vocals. So everything was done later. He built around those vocals when he did. And I remember going back to record another song for Okay Kanmani. And then he asked me, oh, so did you hear the new version of Naane? I was like, no. So then he's like, yeah, it goes from 7/8 and then I put it into 4/4 and, sounds pretty cool. I was like, how can you be so humble about the magic that you have created there? He's insane. Such a cool person to be around and so much to take away from him.
Shashaa, with Okay Kanmani, what changed? What does it mean to you today?
It gave me a lot of followers, for starters. That's one thing it did to me. But other than that, it did open up a lot of doors. I think people started noticing me after Okay Kanmani. I was told that people started writing songs based on what I could deliver. So, there were composers who would tell me that, we've composed a song based on what we think you would be singing. And that was based on how they had heard me on Okay Kanmani. So that was extremely humbling and satisfying. And I feel that's such a motivator for you as a singer, especially if you've left everything and you've, come to a foreign country. India was a foreign country for me. And starting from scratch, not really knowing anybody, trying to create a name and an identity for yourself. So that's what Okay Kanmani did. And I would always add here that Rahman sir believed in me when nobody else did. So I remember I would take my CD to so many composers and be like, please give it a listen, call me if you feel there's any work. Or you could use my voice for something, and nobody trusted on that. And I was a complete nobody when Rahman sir heard me. And I think to have that faith in a nobody is you need to be very courageous to do that. But also I think you need to have so much faith in somebody's capabilities. And that is so reassuring for for an artist like myself so much so that even if I didn't have the capacity to deliver, I think it would push me to work on myself to develop that capacity, just to reinstill and reinstate that faith that Sir puts into his artists. And Okay Kanmani was that for me.
When Okay Kanmani was made in Hindi as Okay Janu, Rahman trusted Sasha with a song that was sung by none other than Chitra in Tamil. And the song that won Sasha a national award, and singing for Rahman's first film as producer, 99 songs. With Untold Stories, Shashaa Tirupati will continue in our next episode. Stay with us.
He told me to sing, ho. There's this part in the song, ho. Hey, Mr. Minor and the pocket. So before that, there's like that little run. I could not sing it. Still can't. And it's so fast. So he made me sing it 25 times back to back. Ho. Ho. He made me sing it like a record. I sang it, and then finally, I think 24th time he got it, and he's like, okay, got it. That was it.
Do you agree that this indeed was the moment of the day? Is your choice different? Whatever your mind says, write it in the comments section below. We will be waiting. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon, and stay entertained.